Welcome into SportsBit, Wednesday, September 7th. I'm Ted Savransky. Teddy covers. We have no Paul Howard today, so we have a pinch hitter coming in. Drew Martin is going to break down the world of sports and sports betting with us here on SportsBit Betting Insight today. And we have a loaded show talking, Broncos, Panthers, Thursday night Super Bowl rematch. We got Louisville, Syracuse, Friday night ESPN. We have the top 10 differences between recreational bettors and professional bettors. And of course, as always, we start with bad beats and bad bets. And let's not forget, Super Bowl odds. Full discussion of where to find the best numbers and what books take the lowest juice out of the Super Bowl odds. But let's start with bad beats, bad bets. And Drew, we got to start with the bad bet on the Toronto Blue Jays last night. Money pouring in on the Jays, minus 140 up to minus 160. The Yankees just keep hanging around. Aaron Sanchez, solid, but he got tired in the bottom of the seventh with a 2-1 lead. And then Grilly blew up in the eighth, and Brett Gardner saves it with a big game-ending catch in the ninth inning. Yankees get the win in a game that the Blue Jays took all the money.
Teddy, I'll tell you, in this game with Jason Grilly past his prime, pitching in AL East ballparks, that's just a matchup I'm not looking to bet on. So with him getting blown up, that's not surprising to me. And yeah, it was definitely.
What about the Mariners? The Mariners were taking a ton of money on this homestand. They have not played good baseball. They scored 14 on Monday. But last night they got beat. Minus 115, bet all the way up to minus 155. James Paxton, a guy who the markets liked a whole lot earlier in the season, but after a stint on the DL, not sure he's going to be ready, or he is ready. 103 pitches last night. Couldn't even get him through the fifth inning.
Yeah, Teddy, what a 40-point move, and he only pitched a little over 4 innings, gave up 9 hits. That's, I don't know, that move's not showing a lot of confidence in the opinion that the bettors have.
But a bailout for the books was the Rockies. Our play of the day, bet from minus 115. How about this? Minus 160 that closed. It was like a ton of money poured in on Colorado. The syndicates were betting Colorado. The squares were betting Colorado. The pros were betting Colorado. And Tyler Anderson pitched really well, as expected. But the Rockies' defense and bullpen bailed late.
Yeah, bailout for the books for real, man. When Tyler Anderson, he goes over 7 innings and only gives up 2 runs. You got to have that win for Colorado. That is a shame right there, Teddy.
Sure, the Giants find a way to win despite their recent, how should we say, cold lineup, dismal play, the worst team to bet on since the All-Star break. The Giants got one, and that was a good result for the house last night. All right, Paulie. See, I'm going to call you Paulie because I'm so used to talking to Paulie every day. All right, Drew, we got to do it. Let's talk Super Bowl futures. There was a great article written by David Solar over at Sports Insights, and he broke down, did all the math for us, and broke down which books have the lowest hold percentage on Super Bowl wagers, meaning you get more money back. And of course, in general, the books in Las Vegas take out more of a cut than the offshore books. But when you look at this graphic right here, you always think pennies at the top. Look, for the NFL future book this year, 5 Dimes is taking the lowest percentage out, followed by Heritage, followed by Sportsbook, before Pinnacle and Bookmaker.
This is a really important stat here, Teddy. One of the most important that you need to look at before putting down your bet. And to see 5 Dimes at the top with Heritage really nipping at their heels, it was surprising to me. I always in the past, everybody's talked about Pinnacle with the best line. Doesn't look so right here, though.
Just for odds to win the Super Bowl. These are not bets that I make a whole lot, but I know there are a lot of guys out there that are very interested in odds to win the Super Bowl type of bets. So, another thing that this article brought up, they did all the work for us. Gave us the best future book odds for each team, so you know what book to go to if you want to bet on any given team. And it's a giant list. I'm not going to do the whole list because a lot of them have multiple books, but let's just run through some of them. For example, we talked about 5 Dimes. If you want the Bears to win the Super Bowl, the Cowboys, the Broncos, the Packers, those are all best odds available at 5 Dimes, at least from the survey of sportsbooks. And it was a pretty significant survey. Sportsbook.com got a bunch of ones too, Drew, didn't they?
Yeah, they had the Colts at plus 3,500, 3.5 or
35 to 1.
The Colts right there at Sportsbook. Yeah, there we go. And also to give a little bit more love to Five Dimes, they had the Pats at plus 835. So some more love to Five Dimes there. They're really putting it out as the best odds.
Sure. There are Pinnacle, for example, has the Tennessee Titans as one that they like best. Greek has the Minnesota Vikings as the current best odds available. Bookmaker, Kansas City Chiefs are the current, the best price on KC. So one thing that is very true with future bets, there's an enormous difference from one book to the next. If someone comes in and puts a big wager down at one book, they have to adjust their numbers, but that's not market wide. So you do see variance in these numbers. That's why we got this list for you. I encourage you to check it out. And of course, if you're looking to set up a new account offshore, I encourage you to check out the reviews, check out the links right here at SBR.com, sportsbookreview.com. That's going to wrap up segment one. Segment two, what do we got? Big game breakdown. Thursday night NFL kickoff. Panthers, Broncos. Friday night college. Louisville, Syracuse. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back.
Always on the go? Bet365 has one of the top mobile platforms in today's market. Sign up today and don't let your busy life keep you out of the game.
Yeah, so welcome back to Sportsbet, and it's time for Big Game Breakdown. Teddy and Paulie, we've got no Paulie today. That means Drew Martin pinch hitting off the bench, and he's been killing it so far. Drew, let's start with the Super Bowl rematch, the game that everyone's been talking about all summer, and it's time to break it down right here, right now. Carolina Panthers, road favorites at Denver, -3, -120 or even higher juice in some places. Total 41.5. We go back to the Super Bowl. Remember, 24-10. All Denver, all day. Carolina went off in the 5.5-point chalk range in that ball game. But you go back and look at that box score. Broncos, 11 first downs, 1 of 14 on third downs, a total of 194 net yards, only 3.5 yards per play. They couldn't run, they couldn't throw. How'd they win the game?
Ah, man, Teddy, I got to step in here for Paulie like a 1996 Trevor Hoffman changeup. And I'll tell you, the reason, in the box score, it's right here. Fumbles and lost fumbles. 4 fumbles, 3 lost fumbles. The turnovers, man, it was huge. And going to Thursday night, I'll tell you, you got Cam Newton versus Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian, smart dude, Northwestern guy, Big Ten guy like yourself. But as far as an athlete and the returning MVP, I'll take Cam Newton on Thursday night.
Newton's chance to cap off a historic NFL season. That team went 15-1 in the regular season. They dominated their first 2 postseason games. They were on pace, had they won the Super Bowl, to be thought of as one of the elite NFL teams of all time. Didn't happen. Newton's chance to cap off that season ended with a thud. Look at that picture right there. He was hit 13 times in that ball game. And when you read the quotes, the Panthers believe they made very poor adjustments against the Denver Blitzes. Philly Brown talking about how Carolina is not going to make the same mistakes twice. Quote, they've got great pass rushers. They had a great game plan, and we weren't at our best that day, and we know that. We've watched the film over and over again, and we realize the little mistakes that we made, the game that need fixed, that need to be fixed to get the victory. The tight end, Ed Dixon, quote, we were very critical of ourselves watching tape and what we have to do better. We did a lot of great things, but there were a lot of things that were uncharacteristic of us. So, Denver didn't get any offense in the Super Bowl. Carolina made a ton of mistakes. Now the Broncos go with an untested, he's not a rookie, but he's a rookie, Trevor Siemian, 7-7 as a starter at Northwestern. Can Carolina get some sense of revenge in this game? And if they do, does that revenge come by margin? Or are we talking about a game that's going to be tight right through the end?
Well, Teddy, it could go obviously one of a couple different ways, but I like this kid Trevor Siemian. He can spin it, but at the same time, I think he's going to have a tough time against this Panthers defense. So if you're asking my opinion, what I'm betting, it's Panthers or pass for me, Teddy.
I'm with you 100%. Now remember, Broncos 11 first downs and 194 yards. Their defense can do it again. That's not asking much from Trevor Siemian. But the quotes from Gary Kubiak, quote, "We have to give him freedom. We have to let him play." Obviously, you're talking about a Hall of Famer and Peyton Manning, who retired. That package may be a little bigger, but Trevor's a smart kid. That's one of the reasons he's got himself in this position, because he's able to handle a lot. I really like the way he works. He can carry a lot of information in a short period of time. Let me explain. He can go into that meeting room for 2 hours in the morning, walk out of here at 11:30, and take it to the field. You can't teach that. Fascinating matchup on Thursday night, and a very rare point spread. We don't often see the defending Super Bowl champs as home dogs in their Thursday night opener. All right, let's talk Friday night. Louisville, Syracuse. Louisville minus 14 and a half on the road. We've seen some over money getting this total up to 68. And boy, Lamar Jackson is so good. Look at this photo. It looks like he's toying with defenses. Jackson with a pretty impressive performance last week. What he did, 286 yards and 6 touchdown passes and 119 yards on the ground and 2 touchdowns. Oh, that was by halftime. Lamar Jackson, he's in pretty good form right now. Can he run circles around the Syracuse defense?
Yeah, I absolutely think he can. I mean, granted, the first game was against Charlotte, but Syracuse defense, I guess it's yet to be seen how they're going to perform. And also on the other end, Teddy, I know that you know a little bit about Dino Babers, and he didn't like the way that his offense was running in game number 1 against Colgate, and I think he used the phrase paint drying, and his offense needs to get going a little bit faster. And he said they will be going a lot faster in the Carrier Dome on Friday night. And I'll tell you one other thing breaking down this game. They went up against Colgate, and all FCS teams aren't created equal. Colgate was a FCS playoff team last year. I think they actually made it to the quarterfinals. So being able to put up 33 points against them and their offense not running at the high tempo that Dino Babers wants, I think that they'll be able to really push it against this Louisville defense. Not necessarily carve them up, but I see Syracuse getting into the end zone a couple times on Friday night.
Well, let me just get back to Lamar Jackson for 1 second, because you talk about in the opener against Charlotte, those monster numbers he put up. It's worth noting that he ran and passed for over 200 yards each. He scored 2 touchdowns, and he threw 2 touchdowns in that bowl win over Texas A&M last January. Now, you talked about Dino Babers and the pace that Syracuse is looking to play. Quote, "We have a dome. The snow doesn't matter. The rain doesn't matter. The wind doesn't matter. I can guarantee them every college football game at home, they'll play in perfect weather." Babers, he wants to play as fast as any team in the country, and he's got a chance, of course, to spotlight the program in the Carrier Dome at home on national TV. So it's kind of a rare situation where a team that's a 14.5-point underdog wants to speed up the pace against an opponent that is pretty comfortable playing fast.
Yeah, absolutely. And Dino Babers is one of he's a unique dude in that he would want to do that. A lot of 2 touchdown underdogs are going to want to just kind of sit on the clock, milk this out, maybe squeak one out in the fourth quarter. Not Dino Babers, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, Babers, he coached Jimmy Garoppolo at Eastern Illinois. He was an assistant at Baylor. He was the head man at Bowling Green. In each of those instances, he was looking, it's all about speed. And in theory, they might be better off losing this game 45-28 than 17-14 because it's about recruiting right now. Syracuse did go 4-0 as a home dog last year. Obviously, that was a different coach. But if you watch the game film from last year, there were some significant defensive concerns for Syracuse. Louisville won 41-17. They rolled up 579 yards. And oh, by the way, Jackson was injured and didn't play in that ball game. That's what we got. Drew, great stuff. When we come back, it is deep dive time. The top 10 differences between pros and Joes. A fun Wednesday edition of Sports.
Go to SBRodds.com. Browse, compare, and shop live odds available at top online sportsbooks.
Yes, we are back on Sportsbet Betting Insight today. Teddy and Paulie. Paulie's a no-show today. Man, we had excused absence today. Drew Martin coming in and pinch hitting off the bench. Drew, done a great job through the first 2 segments. Let's see if we can finish this bad boy up with some quality information for our viewers. And let's start with this. This is the question I get asked all the time. What's the difference between pros and Joes? Recreational bettors versus professional bettors, sharps versus squares. What did we do? We came up with the top 10 differences between sharps and squares. Let's start with this. Joe's bet teams, pros bet numbers. And it really is that simple. Joe's going to say, I want to bet so-and-so, the Packers. The pro's going to say, I want to bet the Packers at -4 or less. Agree? Disagree?
I 100% agree with that, Teddy. And, that seems to be the phrase that a lot of people throw out as far as the number one difference. Joe's bet teams, pros bet numbers. I would add to that, number two, Joe's expect to see what they saw last week. Pros expect variance. Being able to kind of trust your numbers from preseason into week two rather than just going off what you saw only on week one. Would you agree with that, Teddy?
Of course. Look, and especially when you talk about early season college football and NFL. Whatever bettors see in week one, they're going to expect to see the exact same thing in week two. Certainly recreational bettors, I should say. The pros are always expecting more variance. What you saw last week is not necessarily what you're going to see this week. When teams get fat and happy, when teams face a different type of opponent, it's likely to change their performance or their level of performance. Number three, real simple. Joe's bet TV games, pros bet whenever they have an edge. This whole concept of it's on TV, I got to bet it. I've never understood that. Can you watch a game without betting, Drew? I watch a lot of games without betting on them. That's where you really learn your best info. And you got to bet when you have an edge, and that doesn't matter if it's on TV or not.
Man, out of all these topics, Teddy, I would say this is probably the most important. I think that you actually can find more of an edge in the obscure games. So, I 100% agree with that one. On to number four, Joe's worry about getting even on Monday night. Pros don't make double or nothing wagers. This is pretty standard. Don't get in over your head. Don't bet too much of your bankroll, and really stick to what you know, Teddy.
This is the truth of it. I was a bookie before I moved to Las Vegas, and everybody's double or nothing on Monday night. Everybody every week double or nothing. It's like the Monday night game holds this outsized importance on how that week's going to go, and especially if you're down, oh my God, they're jamming bets in as fast as they can and parlays, and that's a classic way to lose. It's okay to lose a week. It's not good to lose a week, but it's okay. There's no reason to panic. There's no reason to freak out. There's no reason to make a huge bet on a Monday night game that you don't care about. Pros are not making double or nothing type of wagers. Joe's generally number five. Joe's generally bet too high a percentage of their bankroll. It puts them in danger of being out of the game if they hit a skid. Pros have deeper bankrolls and therefore bet a smaller percentage of their bankroll with any given wager.
I 100% agree with this. It kind of jumps back to the last topic, and they're both correlated. You can't be betting too much. The variance is always going to go against you at some point, and you got to be able to withstand that bad skid. So 100%, Teddy, I 100% agree with you. On to number six. Joe's ignore sample sizes and database research. Pros always looking for big sample sizes, better data, solid long-term angles. I think long-term is the key point there. You want to not concentrate too much on what just happened and put too much on any one topic, Teddy.
Well, it comes down to sample sizes. When we talk about the variance concept earlier, Joes don't do a lot of database research. The syndicates do a ton of database research. Most successful bettors I know do at least some database research. They're looking for samples of similar teams in similar spots. It's not about, the Raiders are 0-16 in this various role that has, come up over the last 20 years with 19 different coaches. No, it's about long-term angles that put positive expectation wagers in your favor, so you're not betting into negative subsets. Joe's bet when they have the time. Reason number 7. They bet when they have the time, or they bet in the hour before kickoff at whatever out they have. Pros monitoring lines all week and betting wherever offers the best line. It really comes down to this. More books, more outs for pros than it is for Joes.
Absolutely. And why wouldn't you have more books? Put up 5 dimes to Cantor, to Heritage, and really use that to your advantage. If you're getting 20 at one book, 21 at the other, why not put that in your back pocket? So number 7 is definitely a big plus. On to number 8, Joes let the luck factor drive them crazy. Pros have luck factor working too, but remain more rational. And this I really factor into don't put too much emphasis on one bet. Back to bankroll size. Use 1%, 2%, whatever it is, and don't get in over your head, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. When pros are running bad, they go nuts just like everybody else. That being said, they remain rational in the midst of a bad luck streak. And I'm telling you, if you watch your recreational bettor, when things are running bad, they go nuts. I mean, it happens a lot. We see it in Las Vegas all the time in sportsbook. Guys that are running bad, and one little bad run has cost them basically their entire bankroll because they weren't able to manage it. Manage your emotions when it comes to the luck factor. Huge difference between pros and Joes. Joes bet more when they're losing and less when they're winning. They're trying to lock in a profit, and they're trying to avoid paying their man. Pros do the exact opposite. When you're running good, when you're seeing things clearly, that's when you up your wager sizes. When you're struggling and not seeing things clearly, that's when you lower your wager sizes. Huge difference between pros and Joes in that regard.
Huge, biggest difference right here. I mean, when you win your bet size the next time should go up. Your 1% should be off of your new bankroll, not just what it was in the start of the season. So that's a big one there in number 9. And number 10 to end it up, the closer here. Joe's bet negative expectation parlays have zero idea on how to bet teasers. Pros don't make those mistakes. Now, in fewer parlays, more straight bets. So number 10 to end it is a big one. I would really say out there to the new bettors, I mean, stick to straight bets. I actually almost always, way over 90%, straight bets, Teddy. So that's my advice.
Sure. And what we're going to do next week, we're saving Wednesdays for good deep dives, interesting discussions. Next week, we're going to talk about some of these bets that the pros make, how pros attack teaser wagers. You can see that 1 week from today, right here on Sportsbet. All right, Drew, we've reached the finish line. It's play of the day time. We're going to go Friday night football, game number 303, 304, Louisville and Syracuse. Let's get that game over the total. Yes, that amuses me. I hope it amuses you. 68, the current number. This is what we're going to say about Syracuse, okay? Last week, Syracuse ran 81 offensive plays. They gained 554 yards. They had more than 30 minutes of possession time. Dino Babers, following the game, quote, "That will be the slowest game you ever see us play. Did you see the paint drying? I did. We will never be that slow again." This total's only going up. Let's get on it right now. Louisville, Syracuse, over 68. That is our play of the day. And that's going to wrap it up for the Wednesday edition of Sportsbet. Thank you so much, Drew Martin, for filling in for Paul Howard. We'll be back again tomorrow on Thursday. I'm assuming Paulie's going to be in the fold. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day.
Research before you bet. Be sure to check out SBR Picks for the best game predictions, breakdowns, and much, much more.